all pay heed. The Lord Jehovah has given unto you these 10 commandments.
Call them rules, practices, ideas, commandments, suggestions, it doesn't matter. There are 10 things that I have developed in my own money story, my journey, that I couldn't do when I was younger.
There's no need to get frustrated. People learn at different rates. Unlike objects falling in a vacuum, which... MA equals MG...
Squared?
No.
Aristotle?
No.
5?
Oh.
Oh, then I don't know.
Why are you crying?
Because I'm stupid.
Well, that's no reason to cry. One cries because one is sad. For example, I cry because others are stupid and it makes me sad.
Now, the reason why I didn't even try is because I convinced myself, or I listened to people convince me, you can't do it, things are against you, you just weren't born at the right time or the right place.
Hard to believe after all these years, but I need the money.
I bought into the low expectations lie. And it took me a lifetime to figure out these 10 things, 10 ideas, 10 rules, 10 commandments, 10 suggestions about how to handle my money. Hi, I'm James Callahan, and this is The Do-Over Show. And one of the most significant parts of a do-over is learning to get our money story right, learning to tell ourselves a different story and live a different money story in our lives. So let me get into the 10 things that I've learned. They could have been things that I wish I would have known when I was younger, but it didn't matter because I believed other things. I believed the lies about how I couldn't do anything with my money because I didn't have enough, or other people were hoarding theirs, or there wasn't enough to go around, living in the zero-sum game that if somebody else won, if somebody else was successful, somehow that robbed it from me. Yeah, those were the problems and those were the lies. And learning to overcome those, I don't care if you know them when you're 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, it doesn't matter until you're ready. And when you're ready, here are the 10 things that I've learned about money. The first one is pay yourself first. It's a simple notion. It's the idea that when we get any income, any revenue, any gifts, any bequest, any inheritance, anything, we should take a portion of that before we pay bills, before we take care of responsibilities, before we splurge or spend. We should pay ourselves first. By the way, a little subset of this is when you come into some money, you should always wait about 20, 30 days before you even do anything with your money. The second thing I've learned is that saving is not investing and investing is not saving. Holding money back and saving it, that is not spending it, is a hoarding mentality. It's a zero-sum game mentality. Put whatever label you want on it. But it's too many of us. In fact, many people open up a retirement account through work or through other means, and then they think just because the money's in an account, it's invested. It's not. In fact, when we save instead of invest, we have an opportunity cost that we're paying. That is, we're losing money. Investing in things that will grow and increase in value over time. I give it a 10-year horizon. If I'm investing in something, it's got to work for me for 10 years. If not, it's a trade. It's an idea. It's a whim. But that is not saving, and saving is not investing. The third rule I've learned is you can be too diversified. Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's old business partner, called it diversification. We think that when we spread everything out that we'll protect ourselves, and we will. We'll protect ourselves from gains as well as from losses. Being too spread out, too diversified, instead of having a handful, or maybe 2 handfuls, of good, solid investments that can return on the investment, means that we will never get ahead. It will take us decades rather than years, months, to move our money from where it is today to where it could be tomorrow. The fourth thing I've learned is that there is a debate between automation and behavioral modification. Now, a lot of money people, a lot of money experts, and they're really good, say that you should set up automatic payments, not only to pay bills, but automatically to deduct from your account so that when you get paid, you pay yourself first. And it's done without you having to think about it. You set it up and you forget it. In fact, it's famous that Some retirement funds actually are better when no one actually views them, that when you don't look at them. That is, the forget your password approach to investing. The alternative, and this is the one that I've embraced, is that I have to modify my behavior. I have to change my behavior. So manually, I do this. I do it on a daily basis. I put $10 every day from my main account into a savings account. And when it reaches $500, I move the $500 to an investment account. But I do it manually every single day. That is, I'm trying to modify my behaviors, and I'm not trying to put them out of mind, set it and forget it. That's my approach. It's working for me because it makes me more conscious of the small good decisions that I need to make in order to change my money story. Now, the fifth thing has to do with the companies I invest in. And that is, there's this old advice that is we should invest in what we know. And what most people mean by that is if you use AT&T, for example, for your cell phone or your internet, that you should invest in AT&T stock. Or if you drink Coca-Cola, invest in Coca-Cola. You use an Apple iPhone, invest in Apple. Now, some of those investments would have had good returns, like Apple. Some of them would have had painfully underperforming returns. You'd have lost money. My rule that I've learned is that I don't double spend. If I use an AT&T phone, that's fine. But I'm not going to invest in AT&T. Apple, I did for a while. It's the same way. I don't put my money in the same thing twice. If I spend money on it, that's fine. That's one world. So yeah, invest in what you know really is about. Do some basic research. Figure out what is the delta, what differentiates that company, that thing that you're investing in, what makes it different than the others. And then is it justified? Does your risk tolerance allow it? The next one's it's a little bit tough, and that is invest and live off your gross, not your net income. Now, no one says if they make $50,000 a year that they actually make 40. They say, hey, I make 50. But when we pay ourselves first, when we invest, when we take some of that money, even when we save it, some of that money, we usually go with, let's do a percentage of net, that is after tax. The difference is we're cutting ourselves short. We're cutting ourselves off. We're not paying ourselves enough, and that is that we're trying to deal with the reality, oh, look at all the taxes I lost. I have to just take a little bit out of that. Instead of being more aggressive and saying, I'm going to live and function with my gross, that doesn't mean we get to spend off our gross. That means we save, we invest off our gross. Now, this next one is something that is obvious, but many of us are reluctant to admit it, and that is, if you want to make more money, move. Move geographically from a small market to a large market. Yeah, that means maybe leaving family, uprooting yourself, and that means all that uncomfortableness. But you will make more money as long as you don't overspend what you make in that new setting. So you have to be careful about housing costs and cost of living. All of those things are true. But the other thing is simpler, and that is in your job. That is, you will make between 10 and 30% more over your 35 years of working life if you move in your job from one job to another. Even a lateral move. You will move every 2 to 3 years. Now, most people have 10 to 13 jobs on average over their working career, and that means you move every 2 to 3 years. But that means that for all of us that want the comfort and the assurance of just getting that 1 or 2% cost of living increase, which is not a cost of living increase, it's a cost of losing increase, actually, with inflation and the way it is, that if you want to make more money, the best way is not just to get it from your boss today, but to leverage your skills and go to someone else. Make a lateral move, make a move to a competitor, to make that move for an increase in salary, because they will pay you more making that move than your boss will pay you to stay. That's the painful reality. So if you want to make more money, move. Next thing is rather obvious. Everybody talks about this, and that is why buy things to impress people that you don't like and don't like you. And that is status is not an investment. Car, zip code, clothing, logos, they're not an investment. And the simpler we can approach life by reducing status as an importance in our life, the more money we will have to invest and to live on. So status is not an investment. I know, networking, you want to be seen wearing the right things, and unless you're in that small niche of an industry where fashion is the driving force in how your income will be measured, then status becomes a little bit different. But then it's the cost of doing business for most of us, status is vanity. And it's something that is, we have to admit, is not an investment in us and in our future, in the quality of living. It doesn't matter. Status is not an investment. Number 9, well, number 9 is really straightforward, and that is stop moving the goalposts and setting a number. We confuse having a number, 1 million, 5 million, 500,000. We confuse having a number with the goal. And when we reach that, let's say you set a number. Let's say I want to save up $100,000. It's very difficult to save up the first $100,000. Exponentially, it increases after that. Great. But that first $100,000 is difficult. So let's say you set that goal. What do you do next? Well, that goalpost of $100,000, that's a marker along the way. That's not the destination. Moving the goalpost means that you decide, I'll be happy when I reach 100,000. You reach 100,000 and you're not happy. You move the goalpost to 300,000, 500,000. That is, moving the goalpost itself becomes part of the problem instead of developing the habits and the lifestyle associated with ongoing or that upward trajectory. So instead of always moving the goalposts, thinking that that's what's going to make us happy, first of all, get over the idea of happy. Be happy that you worked hard, not just that you're happy. So stop moving the goalpost by setting a specific number and having that number written down or on your vision board or wherever you put it. And learn to live with a quality of life change. That gets us to number 10. The quality of life change that will really make a difference and will influence everything that we've talked about so far, and that is less is always more. Less is always more. Now, this is different than doing more with less. Less is more is that we learn to live with, we learn to be happy with. So that if we make $50,000 and we live on every penny that we make, and we get an increase to $75,000, less will give us more to invest. So if we keep our standard of living and we avoid lifestyle creep, we will learn that we have that. It might be clothing, it might be simplifying your lifestyle, it may be eliminating extraneous things, it might be simplifying your schedule. The more you have and the more success you experience, the more you'll be happy with less. And that's number 10 in things that will dramatically change your money story. So if you got one, if you got a number 11, have you got a different way of approaching changing your money story and your do-over? If so, leave it in the comments below because I'm listening and I want to hear from you. And thanks for being part of the Do-Over Show. Please, while you're down there leaving your 11th commandment, tap the like button. Subscribe so you won't, ring the notifications bell so you won't miss the next episode. I'm so glad you found me and I found you. Thanks.